A pharmaceutical alliance is quietly reshaping global health supply chains. While Washington pushes tariffs and clings to Buy American rules, Ottawa is building a bridge across the Atlantic to Spain, a leader in biotech, generics, and advanced drug manufacturing. Today we're exploring why Canada is teaming up with Spain. This isn't just about medicine, it's a calculated move in the escalating race for health security. The real question, can the U.S. afford to watch from the sidelines? Welcome to Geo Capitalist, where we decode global wealth, one power shift at a time. If you want to understand the real forces shaping trade, healthcare, and finance, make sure to subscribe now, because the biggest moves in tomorrow's economy are already in motion today. Why Spain? Spain may not dominate headlines like Germany or France, but in pharmaceuticals, it is a quiet giant. Ranked as Europe's fourth largest pharma hub, Spain exports medicines to more than 170 countries. Its facilities specialize in generic drugs, vaccines, and biotech breakthroughs fields that directly impact the affordability and resilience of healthcare systems worldwide. For Canada, which has long struggled with rising drug costs and over-reliance on U.S. suppliers, Spain represents more than a trading partner. It's a lifeline to diversify access and reduce vulnerability. Beyond capacity, Spain brings credibility. Multinationals like Grifols lead in plasma-derived medicines, while research hubs in Barcelona and Madrid drive innovation in oncology and rare diseases. Canada, meanwhile, is home to world-class clinical research and biotechnology startups, but often lacks large-scale manufacturing. By teaming up, both nations complement their strengths. Canadian science, Spanish industrial power. Canada's healthcare system is one of its most defining features, but also one of its greatest economic stress points. Rising costs, aging populations, and drug shortages have placed enormous pressure on Ottawa to rethink how medicines are sourced. In 2024, Health Canada reported that over 30% of essential medicines faced some level of shortage, from antibiotics to cancer treatments. The reason isn't just local demand, it's structural dependence. Nearly 70% of Canada's pharmaceuticals are imported, and the U.S. accounts for the largest share of those imports. That dependence has become a strategic vulnerability. Washington's push for Buy American rules has repeatedly disrupted Canadian access to affordable drugs. During past supply chain crises, U.S. regulators moved to restrict exports, prioritizing domestic needs. For Canadian policymakers, this was a wake-up call. Relying too heavily on one supplier, even an ally, leaves the system exposed. Patients feel the impact directly, from higher drug prices to delays in access to life-saving treatments. This is where Spain enters the picture. Ottawa understands that securing a second anchor supplier in Europe doesn't just stabilize access, it also creates leverage. If U.S. firms try to raise prices or limit exports, Canada can pivot toward Spain's industrial base. The political message is clear. Canada is no longer willing to let its healthcare sovereignty depend on a single neighbor. By diversifying through Spain, Ottawa gains predictability, competitive pricing, and a resilient flow of medicines. For everyday Canadians, that means less risk of empty pharmacy shelves and fewer shocks from international trade disputes. For Ottawa, it's proof that healthcare security can be built through geopolitics, not just policy reforms. Spain might not always come to mind when people think about pharmaceutical giants, but in Europe it is quietly one of the sector's strongest players. The country ranks among the top 5 pharmaceutical producers in the EU, with more than $25 billion in annual output and a global export footprint that has expanded sharply since 2020. In fact, Spain has become a critical supplier of generic medicines, vaccines, and advanced biologics, many of which are distributed across Europe, Latin America, and now, increasingly, North America. One of Spain's unique strengths lies in its ability to combine world-class research with cost-effective production. Companies like Grifols, Rovi, and Almirall have not only built cutting-edge biotech and plasma-based therapies, but also scaled production at prices that undercut traditional suppliers in the US and Switzerland. This makes Spain an attractive partner for Canada, where healthcare budgets are under strain and access to affordable generics is a political priority. The EU connection makes Spain even more powerful. Under the framework of the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, Canadian buyers already benefit from reduced tariffs and streamlined regulatory pathways for European pharmaceuticals. By deepening ties with Spain, specifically, Canada is tapping into a sector that has full EU regulatory alignment, meaning approvals in Madrid can flow more easily into Ottawa. Beyond the numbers, there's also the resilience factor. Spain has invested heavily in domestic supply chains after COVID-19 exposed Europe's reliance on Asia for critical drug ingredients. By securing a share of that more localized, EU-based supply chain, Canada positions itself to sidestep the disruptions that plagued global health systems in recent years. For Spain, meanwhile, expanding into Canada represents a chance to diversify away from its traditional EU and Latin American markets and lock in a new transatlantic partner. Whenever Canada shifts its trade patterns, Washington takes notice. For decades, the U.S. has been Canada's dominant supplier of pharmaceuticals, controlling nearly 40% of imports into the country. But that dominance comes with vulnerabilities: high pricing, patent disputes, and supply chain bottlenecks that often put Canadian patients at risk of shortages. By pivoting toward Spain, Ottawa is quietly reducing that dependency. For the U.S., the concern goes beyond lost sales. American pharmaceutical firms rely heavily on Canadian buyers to maintain economies of scale in North America. If Spain starts filling those contracts, U.S. suppliers could lose not just revenue, but also bargaining leverage with regulators in both countries. The timing is particularly sensitive. In 2025, Washington is doubling down on Buy American provisions for healthcare products, but those same rules make it harder for Canadian hospitals to secure timely and affordable supplies. There's also a symbolic dimension. Canada's choice to deepen ties with Madrid sends a message. U.S. products are no longer the automatic default. And because Spain is operating under the EU umbrella, the move signals a broader willingness by Ottawa to diversify its partnerships, even when it irritates Washington. The U.S. may protest, but with global supply chains fragmenting, Canada is exercising something it hasn't always had: strategic independence in healthcare procurement. The real story isn't just diplomatic, it's economic. Analysts estimate that Canada's new pharma framework with Spain could unlock between 1.5 and 2 billion euros in trade annually by 2026, depending on how quickly regulatory approvals scale. For Canada, that means access to lower-cost generics and specialized treatments, with projected savings of 5 to 10% on public healthcare budgets, a major win in a country where cost efficiency drives political debate. For Spain, the benefits are just as striking. Canada represents a wealthy, stable, and undersupplied market, exactly the kind of expansion European pharma firms are seeking post-pandemic. By 2026, Spanish exports to Canada could rival its long-standing shipments to Latin America. For companies like Grifols, which already dominate in blood plasma therapies, This is an opportunity to expand into Canada's research hospitals and build long-term clinical partnerships. The CETA advantage amplifies these numbers. Because Canada and Spain both fall under its framework, tariffs are virtually eliminated and regulatory processes are streamlined. That makes it easier for Spanish firms to outcompete American suppliers who must navigate more costly, less flexible, bilateral processes. Put together, the numbers illustrate a quiet but powerful shift. Spain doesn't just gain a new market, it gains a North American gateway. Canada, in turn, locks in both cost savings and supply chain resilience. And every euro that flows across the Atlantic chips away at U.S. dominance in one of the most profitable sectors of the global economy. This isn't just about Spain and Canada. Other European capitals are taking notes. France, Germany, and Italy all have advanced pharmaceutical industries, and each sees Canada as fertile ground for expansion. If Spain proves the model works, these players are likely to follow. That could create a cascade of EU suppliers entering the Canadian market, further tilting the balance away from U.S. dominance. The ripple effects extend to Asia as well. Japan and South Korea, both major pharmaceutical exporters, are closely watching how quickly Canada diversifies. A successful Spain deal signals that Ottawa is open to broadening healthcare partnerships, creating competition for U.S. firms that once assumed near-exclusive access. Meanwhile, Latin American producers, particularly in Mexico and Brazil, may find themselves squeezed. Canada's tighter EU alignment could set higher regulatory standards that are difficult for some emerging market suppliers to meet. That raises the bar for global competition, but also strengthens Canada's position as a premium, standards-driven market. Even within Europe, Sweden and Denmark, fresh from their energy and technology collaborations with Canada, may view pharma as the next frontier. In short, this isn't a one-off deal. It's part of a strategic realignment, with Canada positioning itself as a bridge between European innovation and North American healthcare demand. And the world is paying attention. The Canada-Spain connection isn't built on economics alone. Over the past decade, cultural and academic exchanges have grown steadily, creating fertile ground for deeper trade ties. Spanish pharmaceutical companies have partnered with Canadian research institutions in areas like oncology, neuroscience, and rare diseases, leveraging Canada's strong clinical trial infrastructure. Migration adds another layer. Thousands of Spanish professionals, from engineers to healthcare specialists, already work in Canada, supported by bilateral mobility agreements under CETA. This talent flow strengthens trust between institutions and makes it easier to integrate supply chains. For younger generations, Canada is becoming a natural destination for Spanish graduates seeking opportunities in biotech and life sciences. Tourism and culture also matter. Spanish is the third most spoken foreign language in Canada, and Canadian students increasingly study abroad in Madrid and Barcelona. These social connections build familiarity and reduce friction when governments negotiate sensitive deals. For pharmaceuticals, where trust, standards, and patient safety are paramount, and though cultural alignment is as important as the contracts themselves. Ultimately, these ties reinforce the deal's durability. This isn't a transactional agreement. It's the continuation of a broader transatlantic partnership rooted in shared values of transparency, sustainability, and innovation. And in a world where healthcare is a global competition, those values may be the glue that keeps the Canada-Spain alliance resilient against political headwinds. The Canada-Spain Pharmaceutical Alliance is about far more than medicine. It's a signal of intent, a declaration that Ottawa will not be boxed in by geography or tradition. Just as Canada deepened its ties with Sweden in defense and Denmark in clean energy, it is now forging a health and biotech bridge to Spain. Together, these deals sketch a pattern. Canada is building a portfolio of strategic alliances across Europe that collectively reduce its reliance on Washington. For Spain, the partnership positions Madrid as a transatlantic connector, bringing European innovation into North American markets at scale. For Europe as a whole, it proves the value of regulatory alignment and the leverage of CETA. And for the U.S., it's another reminder that its grip on Canadian markets, long assumed unshakable, is slipping one sector at a time. Looking forward, analysts suggest pharmaceuticals are just the beginning. The Canada-Spain axis could expand into biotech, digital health, and medical technology, all sectors projected to grow exponentially over the next decade. The more this partnership matures, the more it reshapes not just Canadian healthcare, but the geopolitics of global health trade. The world is watching, and so are we. If you found this breakdown valuable, watch our next video. It connects directly to what's unfolding. And don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us decode these global shifts without compromise. Let us know in the comments. Is Canada simply diversifying, or is this the start of a permanent pharma realignment? Either way, the world is watching. This was Why Canada is Teaming Up with Spain, and the U.S. Can't Stop It. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.